Alrighty, Doc here from North America. It is, I guess it's like a vortex day. I think you want to call it that. I don't know. It could be. It's like a vortex, where you're shifting from one to the other. Air currents, or a sci-fi TV show where they talk about changing space and time or something like that. A new beginning or an end. It seems like we are coming up on that right now at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which is so we're 7:31 now, 7:32 a.m. in the morning. So that means, let's see, eight. That's 4.5 hours. We're 6.5 hours away from the Fed actually making a loud decision. Now we know they'll be feeding their insiders a preview to this, but we talked about this yesterday about I forget what our title was yesterday. It was something like that, about the way the Fed could be, or Fed acting, or something like that. I had that. Sometimes some of these ideas come into my head, and they're el natural. They really are. They're el natural. They're natural. As a trader, when you're trading and you don't have a lot of time to think sometimes, depending on what you're doing, and then sometimes you have a lot of time to think, which can get you in trouble. But in the case of yesterday, the flavor was out there. What does the Fed have to do? That's what it really came down to. And today, after my little litany in the morning, it was very clear by the afternoon, everybody was starting to feel that situation. You could see it in the talking heads everywhere. What does the Fed have to do? What to do, what to do, what to do. Yes, indeed. And what they need to do is, obviously, after 13 years, is it 13? 2008, we're almost 2022. That's 14 years. So good 13 plus years. They need to stop this quantitative easing. They just need to, or they're just going to inflate to a point where it's going to hurt a lot of people. And I saw, to digress, I guess you could say, saw a headline this morning. They're saying that Aragon, President / former Prime Minister Aragon, is his biggest challenge in the elections. Yeah, there you go. I just pulled it up accidentally. How about that? Poverty, economic turmoil shaking Aragon's throne. Turkish President Turkish President Recep, oh, that's his name, Recep Tayyip Erdogan's biggest political rival ahead of the 2023 presidential election seems to be, and get this, poverty. Yeah, so obviously that strategy that he's been doing since the Turkish Lira was trading in the 1.5 area, and is now trading in, let's go take a peek what it's doing really quick there. I know we're jumping around today a little bit, but, oh, okay, yeah, another all-time high. Obviously, bad times ahead for them. We know that. We've talked about it. The Turkish Lira is going from 1.5 to 3, and from 3 to 6, and now it's jumped from 6 to 12, and here we see it trading in the 15s, maybe even the 16s in the euro. Let's go over to Chicago Quant. And there you can see the Swiss there. Dollar is trying to lift up a little bit there. And we'll have a conversation about that in a few minutes. But there it is right there. Euro Turkish Lira in the 16s. So it went from 1.5 to 3 to 3 to 6 to 6 to 12. And I was thinking that maybe it'll stall out in the 18s. In other words, halfway to the 24. So between, was it 3 to 6, 6 to 12? Between 12 and 24 is 18. So I figure, maybe they got 1.5 more on the upside here. And then they'll, I don't know, we'll see what happens from there. But it just has that nature to it. Now, all the fun, all the easy trading and investing for these central banks is coming towards an end. That's what today's all about. This is the vortex. As we take a sip of our tea, maybe we'll have to label it that way too. And this is the central bank vortex that may be happening. Only way to look at it is that. So, I just want another sip of my tea. Mmm. Yum, yum, yum. Alright, so let's go back to the Swiss. Dollar Swiss. Where's that? Right there. There's the dollar Swiss. You can see the Swiss is moving up over here on J4X, or on Chicago Quant. Let's take a look at it there. It's trying to move back up, and you can see it doing the same thing right there with the white line. This yesterday had dropped a little bit under. Matt, is that underneath? It's still underneath, right? Is it underneath right now? No, it's not. And we should change that. We should not allow. It's highlighting the super. We don't really need it to highlight the super. If you can find the right mouse, there it is, right there, like that. There you go. You can see it's a plus. So, you know, the super's still minus. I thought that was interesting that it did that, and now the super's even starting to turn up. So, you know, as I said, we're going to go back to this conversation. Now here it is. This is that conversation we want to have, and that is, if they're going to raise rates, I guess the whole planet is going to raise rates. I guess that's what it comes down to. The Federal Reserve will probably lend them the money. Somehow they'll figure a way to lend them, everybody, the money to raise rates. And European Union, obviously, with the whole planet at this point, I haven't seen a number lately, but it was sitting around the 15 trillion number of bonds not paying interest. Okay? And they were receiving interest to be invested in them. Well, I guess the bond vigilantes will start to appear now. I guess that's the way it's going to play itself out. And we're going to see how that all is really going to be the reality of it all. So, well, you know, welcome to the Vortex. It's coming around the corner. It's kind of like that. 6 white horses when she comes. She'll be riding 6 white horses when she comes. That's all I hear in my head right now. Another cowboy song. Basically, that's where we're at. So let's, you know, sit back, traders. Anybody out there that's invested in little bonds and so forth, go synthetic. Go synthetic. You know, we talk about it all the time here. Synthetic bonds are so much safer than naked long bonds. So, okay, let's go over to the euro and see what that's doing. How about that Aragon, huh? Poor Aragon. He's like, oh, he's fighting poverty. Didn't realize things. I knew things had to be bad. No one talks about it. You don't hear people walking around besides me, you know, on our webinar talking about how wild and woolly and how bad things have been for Turkey. So, I mean, like, am I the only one out there paying attention to it? But it seems like, obviously, the population of Turkey is paying attention to it. There's the euro. Was a little surprised, you know, it tried to get into the buy and it failed. Let's see what it looks like over on J4X. I mean, we're going to have interest rates start to do dramatic shifts here. There's serious talk of, I am hearing it in the places that I trust, like surprise increases. So in other words, they'll announce, you know, like, you know, they're moving up and they're going to be following the numbers and they're going to say all kinds of cute little platitudes, make everybody feel warm and fuzzy and happy. And then somewhere in between this conference and another conference, you know, what they'll do is they'll just raise rates before the conference. So in other words, everybody knows, okay, race for today, ramming speed. But when it comes to the rate increases, they may come out of nowhere, like in between meetings, out of nowhere, the Fed will announce, guess what? We're raising rates today 50%, you know, or a half a percentage point. Mm-hmm. Don't be surprised if you see some of that stuff going on. Boy, I remember when I was young, Greenspan, not Greenspan, why I say Greenspan? Not Arthur Burns, the big guy, big tall fellow. Volcker, that's it. The Fed chairman, Volcker. One morning we walked in on the trading floor. What did he do? I think he dropped interest rates at that point. I guess he was getting control over the craziness. Or was he increasing? I think I remember him raising it. No, I think it was on the new trading floor of the Philly exchange. I was there. it was happening. I think he raised rates 3.5% one day. Yeah, walked in on the trading floor and raised interest rates 3.5%. So now, basically try to translate that into the woke, um, you know, uh, I'm trying to find other platitudes of words. The woke, we care, we want everybody to be equal universe. And that would be about a half a point. I could see him walking in on a morning on a trading floor, not on a trading floor, there's no trading floors anymore. Getting up, doing my work. You see some really odd action in the stocks, that someone's giving out some information. And then out of nowhere, the Federal Reserve, maybe between the London, Swiss Open to the New York Open, all of a sudden just jacks the interest rates a half a percentage point more. That would not be a surprise. That would be a norm. Because it would match, the Volcker thing, where you walk in and it's like up 3% or 3.5%. That type of thing out of nowhere. So, that would, in my head, be translatable, I guess you could say. Remember, Volcker, they had inflation. Ooh, did I just lose something there? Let's put the volume up. Volcker, they had inflation, and they had some real irresponsible government by the same cast of characters who are in power today, which is amazing. It's literally the same mindset, as then. Same types. They didn't call them woke back then, but what they did call them is what were they? They were the left of the Democrat Party, and they got control in 1974. And so in 1976, Jimmy Carter got elected, and by 1977, so 1974, 1976, they were now running the Circus Act to a great extent, and like they are today. And by 77, just 1 year into his presidency, they tore it apart. They beat up his Secretary of Treasury. They beat up his chief of staff. They wanted full power, just like the way these guys are today. And they were Southern Democrats. Jimmy Carter was a Southern Democrat, and he brought in Burt Bell and Ham Jordan, all these really, caliber people from the Southern investment communities and so forth, and political structure. Jimmy Carter was a enormously successful governor of Georgia, and had done really good stuff for the state of Georgia, and got it in really good financial shape. And the leftist Democrats from the 68 convention, the 1968 convention, went nuts on him. They finally got power in 74. Oh, I see it again. So, this is like the same situation which brought on Ronald Reagan in 1980, and the South becoming Republican. For 110 years, the South was Democrat. It was Civil War and all like that, and they flipped the South. By being so crazy, they flipped the South into becoming mixed, and before you knew it, most of the southern states were now putting more Republicans into the House of Representatives than the Democrats were putting in there. So this is that's the vortex we're in right now. It's a wild vortex because, as we take a sip of our tea, remember, the only reason we have inflation right now is QE. They got what they wanted. They got borrowing at enormous amounts last year, and Trump did his best to hold it down as much as he could, but in the end result is that this year, now that they have full power, they've increased the amount of money. I talked about this in a webinar previously. They've printed more money in like the last 18 months than a third of what they did in the history of America. our money supply has grown, especially under Mr. Biden, has jumped over 33%. It's like an Aragon situation. You know, it's jumped enormously, especially in the last 9-10 months. They've got they have $1.5 trillion sitting around doing nothing right now. They've borrowed it, they've taken it out, it's been printed, it's sitting around barely being used, and now they have, I guess, another trillion or so they've gotten, and they're trying to get another $5 trillion. But Senator Manchin, a Democrat from West Virginia, is blocking them at the moment. So, welcome to our inflation vortex. And that could be the title of this. All right, let's move along here and looking at the other products and so forth. And but that's the history lesson. We're repeating history. That's all we're doing. Nothing more than that. Just repeating history. All right. Over on J4X, you can see this, the euro falling down. Same issues. See the same thing over on Chicago right here. Both having pressure. Yep. Okay. Now let's take a look at the cable, because the cable is the odd one out right there. We've been talking about that. Look at it. It's trying to hold up into a buy for a fourth day. The weekly is trying to pierce the manifold right there. We even have the super trying to get into the plus. It's still minus, of course, but it's trying to lift up. And then when we go over to J4X, where are you, Mousy? And when we go to J4X, you see that same type of action right there. And it seems like it's sitting on the range, the bottom of the range, whereas we've seen the euro. The euro is, there's a lot of question marks going to be in my head, and probably a lot of other people managing capital. And that is that with Europe so much underwater already, and we've talked about this, we thought Draghi had done a great job of doing a lot with a little money, okay? And, he talked it up, but they've got trillions over there that are going to come back and bite them. Oop, I see a red. What is that? I see it on my computer. Let me check, make sure no one's saying something like, we don't hear you anymore, or something like that. There they are. Yeah, so they got trillions over there. I mean, trillions, pressured, dealing with this whole situation at this point. Invested in government bonds, and at the same time, there's nothing else to put the money into. And if the European Central Bank is forced to buy those bonds even more, it's going to get really, really ugly. I mean, like beaucoup ugly, big ugly. So everything seems to be coming in well. I don't see anybody saying anything across the Skype. Let me just double check my Skype one more time. Oh, okay. 47's here, so that means you are still hearing me, so that's good. All right, let's check out GBP JPY. Let's take a look at that. Looky. Let's start off over here on J4X. Right there, GBP JPY. And you can see it's moving up just the same way GBP US dollar is moving up. And then let's put it over here. GBP JPY right there. I think we're in a buy, right? Yeah, buy for 4 days. The weekly is touching the manifold, still trying. Not getting a lot of zoom. We're getting some zoom. We'll see if how that plays out. But the daily is trying to march up, and we're seeing. What else can we say about that? Yeah, I don't know. I guess, let's see, so that's going to be an interesting combination because cable is strong against the dollar right now. People are running towards it, which is kind of neat. And so, are they going to do the same thing here? Do they buy the GBP, sell the yen? That could be a very interesting trade, but I would love to have this thing in a weekly buy. I'd love to see it. One thing's for sure, you don't want to be shorted at the moment. That's clear. 47. That's very clear. Don't be shorted until it falls back into a sell. Now, on the weekly situation, it may go up. Let's see. Let's go back and look at it on our math and see how it has acted a few times. You can see here it goes into a sell and then goes into a buy just a week later and then climbs. So this thing there's a nice long trend. Look at that. That was a really cool one back in, was that June of this year. Went into the weekly sell, I guess the week of this, right here. So what's that, the 155-ish area? And throughout that whole little adventure, it went down to like 148. That's where that little line was right there. It's 148, 49, 45, 46. 148 basically. And then did it make another low here? No, it did not. It was a higher low, 49 evens. And 48 something. Yeah, 149 even. And then it went into why? Oh, I see what happened. It had gone into a buy right here for this. That's what it was. So we're missing a buy there. So there it is right there. Went into a buy. And then it rolled over into a sell again. Right there. And then it went right back into a buy and then held on to that after, what was that, 3 months? June, July, August, September, so 3 solid months in a sell. Then it did a little hesitation back and forth. Went into the buy for, what was that, 5 weeks? Yeah, 5 weeks. Then went into the sell, and that's where we're at now. And now we've done, was that 3, 4, 5? This is the 6th week. So that's, you can see the symmetry of it, what's going on there. Let's see how it goes. Remember, we're going to be going through this new vortex. So this is going to be kind of interesting. We're going to have, what are we going to have? We're going to have 2 things getting kind of wild. We're going to have, interest rates starting to go up more aggressively than, like as if a Republican is in the White House. It's going to be interesting. But they're not going to, I'm convinced they will not liquidate the portfolio. So, I'm not really worried like it's going to be, Earth coming to an end type of thing. But, one thing is for sure is that the easy money is going to be not so easy anymore. And so that'll shake them up. No problem there. All right. From there, we go over to, let's see, the Turkish Lira, I guess, right? Yeah, so there's the Turkish Lira. We looked at that a quick one because of that article. And now the all-time high in the dollar Turkish Lira is 1476. And let's check her out over here on the J4X. There's the Euro Turkish Lira right there. And let's see, have we hit 17? Let's see what the all-time high is there. The all-time high now is 1663. We're thinking that it's got about another point and a quarter, point and a half, like it'll get up to the 18 and maybe go into like a quieter period, or it'll explode it to 24, one or the other. Because now, if he's that much on the ropes, we'll see. I talked about it. There was a story about 6 days ago where, not this past weekend, the weekend before, someone tried to assassinate him. So they must be enormously frustrated. Enormously. Yeah. So you can see there that the action, the width of it. Look at the width of it. The euro against the Turkish lira, compared to these days here where, it was kind of nowhere near as active, nowhere near as volatile in the sense of the width of a day. I mean, we're seeing some really, if we scrunch this up, you see it that that those days are so much more tighter compared to this action here. There's a lot of wideness going on. The range has expanded on an intraday basis. What is your opinion at the cryptos? You think there will be a rally at the end of the year? Well, I don't know about a rally at the end of the year. You got tax season right now. Anything can happen. That's why I'm not a big fan of like calling things a ho-ho rally or Christmas Santa Claus rally anymore, because the central banks have so much influence. It all comes down to them and the tax situation for people. And a lot of people have a lot of capital committed and have won. And I was talking with a hedge fund friend. I guess it was, what's today? Wednesday, right? Yeah. So I was talking to one. He gave me a call. I guess I had a hedge fund friend call last Monday or Tuesday, and from Florida, and we were talking, and he said that as far as he knows, everybody's pretty much closed their positions out, and so they're in very protective positions because everybody wants to get their money for the year. So, if it drifts up, it drifts up. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But these are not the Santa Claus rallies and stuff like that. They were back when pre-QE, where they made sense. It was like there was like a hunger, and it wasn't the Federal Reserve doing it. We have so many layers now of government influence on our marketplace that it would be disingenuous to call it a Santa Claus rally. Really, you just might as well call it a Federal Reserve rally. That's what it really is. It's nothing more than that at this point. So, will there be strength going into the end of the year, especially in the cryptos? Let's take a look. Let's check it out. Let's see, where is it at? Not there. So we go to there, and we put it here, right there, and let's put it up on J4X at the same time. And there is the Bitcoin on J4X. It's trading at basically 57. It's not bad. I mean, the thing is up 100% for the year. So you would think that this profit taking that we've been seeing, this action here for like the last couple of weeks, makes sense. I mean, the thing was up almost 200% for the year from where it started in January to the high of the year. It was up 200%. So, the profit taking makes sense. Will they fight to get into position? What I would like to say about it all is that I'm surprised that it's even this much down. You would think that money would be pouring in or not getting out, one or the other, because of the inflation. And this is supposedly an alternative to the classic, inflationary products that get beat up. So I'm assuming this is just tax selling. That's all this is, taking profits. So you can see here we're in a weekly sell since up in here since the 65,000 area. We've traded down to the 45,000 area, and we're hesitating. If we get into a weekly buy, you will get your end of the year move. At this point, where are we? We're on the 15th. We got 14 days, something like that. 15 days. We got the month ends on the 31st. So you've got 16 days, and if we can get into a daily buy, maybe you'll see some strength on the upside. You can see the green line is trying to lift, but I really have a hard time relating to the idea of bear market, bull market, or / Santa Claus rally when the Federal Reserve is the main buyer and participant and buyer of last resort nowadays. So it's really hard for my mind to relate to it in those terms, because it would be pretending in my head to pretend that the Fed doesn't exist and has not been involved. And the Santa Claus rally was because of money needing to get into position for next year. Well, that's been gone a long time at this point. Right now there's just so much money on the sidelines they need to do something. So they've been coming into the market, but the uncertainty of because of the inflation has everything stalled. And like I said, today is the Vortex day for central banks. So we'll see from there. All right, now that's that. Let me show you one more of the crypto side of it too. Let me show you the here it is right here, Coinbase. It's a very active ETF, holding pretty well. You can see that I think that's the all-time highs right there. Or did it get up into the 400s? I think it did at one point during when they floated it. Yeah. So this is the day right here. Okay, oh, you can't see that. Let's help you there for a second. So you can't see it at all. There we are. So this is the day it went public, and it ran all the way up to 400 and change. And then you can see this is the Coinbase ETF. And they trade all the cryptos. And you see they traded it down into the $215 area for a few months. Then they brought it back up to the almost the $300 area. And over the last, with the inflation kicking out and everything, it seemed like it was picking up steam, and we thought, okay, yeah. But we got up to 360. We're still off all-time highs. So they're still taking profits even from this stuff or selling it to hedge. You can see today, right there, they're trying to get it into a buy. We can do this. We're going to throw that in there like that, because that's what's going to be when we send it out to our clients. You just save that since we're right here. So yeah, that's I think that's the way. Yeah, this is a nice little sign for strength. I would like to see the weekly lift up. That would be nice, because it fell into the weekly sell in the 350-ish area, went down to the 240-ish area, dropped 33%, and now we're getting a daily buy. Let's see how well that holds up. Over in the, let's see, from there, where we go from there? Oh, okay. Let's go back to this, right there. Now let's do Canadian. Unless someone wants to see something, we'll do the Canadian, and then we'll go look at the metals and oils. And there you are. You can see that same action here with the Bitcoin there, as we showed you before. It would be nice if it wasn't doing that down thing. Let's see, where are we going here? Oh, Canadian. Dollar Canadian pairs. Right there. Ooh, avalanche. And then, let's see, we slide over to here. There's the Canadian. Yeah, it's going to the top of the range. It's not doing the best of the best. When it comes to this whole situation, it's really having issues. I don't think I could describe it any better than that. It's having issues. And that makes sense. It should have issues, It should. There should be issues. We're in the central bank vortex. Interest rates are not going to be the same way they've been for, let's put it this way, for the last 13 years. All of a sudden it's going to get a little different. The game is, as was it Watson would say to Holmes, the game is afoot, or vice versa. Holmes would say to Watson, the game is afoot, it's moving. And that's our central bank vortex thing going on. Alright, so this is moving up. You can see here Canadian moving up. You can see it here on J4X, Canadian moving up, right there. So let's take a look at, we're in the weekly buy here, that's for sure. And we're in a daily buy from there. No line in there, let's fix that. Where's the line? There's a couple lines missing. I hate when it does that. That was the buy. It went all the way out to there. Okay, so that's fine. So then went into a sell. Line missing right there. So it went into the sell here, and it did this thing here. Oh, no, we don't touch that. And then it did this thing, moved down in here. And now what we're seeing is, let's see, it's going like that. You see it went down in here, and now it's lifting back up again. And going back to the top end of the range. I imagine that's just the way it's going to be. Let's see. As we used to say on the trading floor, all the married men should leave the trading floor. It's a little dangerous. It's going to be wild. What's it say? All the married men. So, no, this is supposed to be like, single guys down there because it was going to be dangerous and wild. You want to protect widows there was a time where we talked about widows and orphans in the financial industry. Now I don't know what they talk about, but there was a time where you didn't want to hurt widows and orphans financially. That was an old expression. All right, from the Canadian, we're going to zip over to the energy sector. Let's take a look at oil this morning, see what that's doing. Right there. And then what we have is, I'll explain that widows and orphans one day. Basically, the idea was that they're supposed to be invested in safe things, and the Federal Reserve has been the furthest from that. So they have not respected widows and orphans, let's put it that way. In other words, you didn't want widows or orphans to lose their money in the financial market, so you didn't do stupid things. And these times, stupid things are the daily recipe. All right, from there, where do we go from there? Oh, from there we get into here. That's what it is. Okay, so let's take a look at crude oil there. And there you can see. Did we go into a buy? I think we did. We go. Let me just. Oh, the fact check is. I was looking for fact check. I realized it's not up. Let's see what the fact check. I didn't think we went into a buy. That's got me a little confused. Let's see. Crude oil. There we are. Oh, no, that's gold. So that needs to be removed. Because we're in a sell again, right? Or did we go in a buy? No, we went back in the sell. Yeah, so we're in a sell. I'm not sure what that's all about. Let me just double check that real quick. Let me go up and take a look at see what's in this. Let's see. Let's go there. Let's go there. I just want to double check the crude oil chart right there. That looks like it took in some bad data. That's what it looks like. As it spins away. Spin, spin, spin. But we're in a sell. So, as far as we know on the fact check spreadsheet. So let's find out who is right. And I don't remember seeing that like that, sending it out this morning either. Let's just do this too. Let's minimize. Can I do that? What do we do? Minimize that? Yeah. And then I go like that. Let's see what I sent out this morning. Yeah, it was in a sell. Yeah, see that? Let's bring that down to you. See that? It was in a sell. So some data got in there in between me sending that out 2 hours ago and now. So it's in a sell still, so don't pay attention to that. And so that's where we're at. We're still in a sell when it comes to the still moving down, which makes sense because that's usually the way Canadian goes. Canadian goes up, and usually oil goes down. Yeah, that's it. Now let's take a look at gold. There's the gold. Gold is still weak. I was, they really smacked that poor little thing yesterday. I was like, what? Are you kidding me? We've got giant inflation going on. Don't anybody realize that? Yeah, they smacked it. Oh, okay, we got really bad inflation numbers. Let's sell gold. Oh my God, the world is upside down. Honestly, it's the central bank Vortex against widows and orphans. That's what it is. All right, where do we go from here? All right, from there we go back over to the currencies. Let's check out South African Rand, which I imagine was creeping its way up even more today. That's the only way I can relate to it at this point. It's in a buy. I remember that part. I'm starting to remember that nowadays. Because we look at it every day. Yep, it's in a buy. And it's in a weekly buy. And it's like no rest for the weary when it comes to the South African Rand. Let's have a cup of tea taste. Yes, indeed. My first cup of tea. I've already had my coffee. So yeah, you can see here South African Rand is just marching back up. And it is amazing, you know, when we go over to, let's just go to gold one more time. You know, I mean, inflation is increasing, and what are they doing? If you would have asked me 3 weeks ago, what's that? There's 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 weeks ago. If you'd asked me 5 weeks ago, where's gold going to be if inflation really explodes the way it's exploding right now? Oh, well, it's got to be 1900 maybe, 1850, maybe even 2000. No. Federal Reserve's got it down to 1776. It's almost like a joke. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 1770. Is it crazy or what? Is this like a nightmare? All right. And then from there, let's check out the ruble. I thought things were smoothing out with the Russian Federation, honestly. I thought some real positive, the G7 said some positive, some things that made sense. The European Union seems to be doing some things that make sense. Maybe we're just going to smooth out a little bit. Now, I was a little surprised to see the ruble go into a daily buy yesterday. That did bother me. Right there online, I do remember that. I was like, no, you got to be kidding me. That's right. It's a second day. Second day in a daily buy. See that? 2 days in a daily buy, 5 weeks in a weekly buy. So I was like, oh man, what's up with that? Can't they all just play nice? Let's show you right there. Yeah, so when did it buy? Yeah, I guess that's what it is. It's the second day. There's 1 day, there's 2 day, and we had a red green. So it's really two. This will be the second day. It was 1 day. That's what I thought. That's what happens when you do the stuff by hand. There we are. All right, and then let me think. What is it? Let's just check the yen now. The dollar yen right there. That's okay. Yeah, so it's a 1 dayer also. You see that right there, 1 day in a buy, and it looks like the weekly is really. Look at that. Even the blue line is plus. I think the green is just minus still. Let's put both of them in just to see it. Yeah, see that. There you go. So the green is still minus. So we're seeing firmness. We're seeing an attempt to buy. Or in this case here, it's going up against the dollar, which means it is losing money. There's more yen to a dollar. So the pressure's on there too at the same time. And then let's take a peek at the Mexican peso. Right there. And you see that's lifting too. Ooh, so they're buying dollars. Interest rates are going to go up in the States, and they're buying dollars. That's what it comes down to. It's going to be the best place for return, I'd imagine, since most of these other places don't even pay interest to begin with. So you can see here, we're looking at the same situation. I mean, they all look identical. You had the volatility signal 3 days ago, and we're starting to lift. Every one of those we just looked at did the same exact thing. We had a volatility signal, and then lift, up, and away. And this is in a weekly buy, and I guess they're going to go take out the top end of the range or do something. At least go back to this little teeny plateau that they tried to do at the 21.5 area. And that does seem to be the whole rationale of it all at this point. All right, so that finishes off the currency pairs that we look at. If anybody would like to see anything, just throw it out there. We're always willing to stop and go take a peek. And Doc's always willing to have an opinion. I just look at my math, I get an opinion. Okay, from there, that's what it comes down to. It's all technical. All right, let's go over to the silver market. Let's see what silver's doing. Poor silver. Ugh, It's like Hamlet. Poor York. Alas, poor York. Poor silver. Right there. Yeah. Poor York. It's poor silver. Look at it. It's been in a daily sell now since November 17th. It's going on a month. Today is December 15th. And every time it even remotely tries to act like it's going to go into a buy, it does something crazy like fall down. And it doesn't even have one of those cute little alarms around its neck that says, I've fallen and I can't get up. And you can see we've been in the weekly sell since this week here. It was the end of the week, right? Yeah, there it is. So it's kind of like really right there. So it went into the sell somewhere. You can see here how it was dipping down. Somewhere's in here it went into the weekly sell number-wise. And then it confirmed it by closing below it there. So it's just been, ugly, ugly, and ugly. And even that is, so you got a daily sell since here we've been stuck in, and we've been in a weekly sell since here we're stuck in. I mean, and inflation is going up, up, and away like a beautiful balloon, and the metals have no value. I really think it's tax selling, honestly. That's why taxes are wrong. Matter of fact, I understand that there are 9 states that are going to have gotten rid of their income. They don't have an income tax to start off with. And there's like another 9 states that are voting on getting rid of their income tax. Taxes are just really bad, these income taxes. Let people earn money and stop trying to take their money from them and spend it for them. These politicians, we need a Sadie Hawkins day once a year with these politicians, honestly. Like the purge, one night purge. All right, let's see, where do we go from here? So there's silver. Let's check out the copper. Copper's starting to roll over, the industrial thing. It's been in that weekly sell since here, in the 440s area. And we're in a daily sell since the 430s area. And now we're at 419 today. So, there's pressure there on the copper. Let's see what Mr. and Mrs. Platinum is doing. Right there's Jan Platt. And, that's been the same situation, been in a weekly sell back since Haya, right there. There you go there. Move that up a little bit like so. And the daily sell started off right there. We really haven't put the lines in this in a long while. So there's the daily sell there. And it went all the way to here to a buy. And back into the sell right there. So that's pretty much the action the last month, in the platinum, which is not much prettier than anything else that's going on at this point. Let's save that. Save. Save workspace as bingo. Yes. All right, so that's pretty much gold, silver, copper, and platinum. Now let's go over to the energy sector. And we'll take a look at nat gas. European natural gas went to another all-time high. Didn't realize that. Where is that at? I guess this kind of helps out. Let me see if we can find it. This thing right here. So, yeah, yesterday nat gas went there. It's at all-time highs. Look at that. I mean, they just ripped that puppy up to the moon. And it's trading in relationship to the American natural gas. Where's it at? Let's see. Right here. Gas. Okay. So U.S. natural gas is trading at $3.80, offered at 90. Okay, on Dukascopy. European gas. Let's see if we can show you that. Where's that at? Let me just show you the chart. Let's see, where do we go from here? Is it on this. No, let's see. Oh, I know it is. It's over here, so I got to go like that. Let's see. Let's send it. When did Robin send that over to me? 8:05. Okay, here we go. So let's just do this. Attach. I need to send Robin something real quick. Let's just attach that. Attach. There we are. And there we go. Okay, so now I want to get, where's it at? Right here. Let me find, European gas is trading at $35, not $3.50, $35 compared to US, which is trading at $3.80. Let me show you the chart on that. Where is it? I have it. I know I have it. I parked it. That's, you know, monster numbers. Just monster numbers, you know. Let's see. We'll find it here in a second. And then we'll put it up there. There it is. And here's the article right here. Let's bring that up on the screen. European gas prices hit record high as Germany blocks Nord Stream 2. And then you can see here, there's the chart. As it spins. 119.50. And I guess, what do we do here? Do we have it there now? Okay, so I got to back that out. And then it'll show you in dollar terms. Here it is. Nat gas. Is that it right there? No, that's not it either. I saw they had it. Oh, here it is right here. So there it is right there. So, you know, we're trading down in here right now, in this area right there. And you can see this thing has run up to $35, $36. So definitely, we're in a vortex that I don't think you can even describe anymore. Things are getting too weird. Too weird. And so let me just show you. There it is right there. Let's try this. Let's go right to there. There's nat gas. And that's natural gas in the United States. So we're at, you know, under $4, and in Europe it's at $35. It's an explosion. So we're seeing, talk about being in the middle of a vortex. All we need now is a large CME to hit us from the sun, and it'll be like wacko city, total wacko city. And let's see what else we got going on here. And you know what? A lot of these things, as we've talked about, just like what Jordan was saying about, you know, like a Santa Claus rally. You know, are they going to be strong at the end of the year? That type of thing. You know, I think all we're seeing is really tax selling at this point, taking a profit. You know, maybe it'll lift them up for a couple of days, right? You know, there's funds. What funds do is they average in at the beginning of the month and they average in at the end of the month. You know, dollar cost averaging. That's the investment tool that they concept. It's like an investment tool concept that they use. So. So basically, at this point, that's where we're at. You know, I don't think it's, you know, any more than that. And now that you have inflation kicking out, you've got a lot of frustration kicking out, a lot of uncertainty kicking out. I mean, you put all those things together, and we are where we're at. You know, I mean, you know, it's that type of thing going on. That's a lot of cross currents, way too many cross currents, and I guess that's about, we're at the end of this game, really. Let's see where the stock indices are. We'll leave looking at the stock indices on an intraday basis. Let's see what they're doing here. Remember, the contracts expire We have bewitching, as they call it, on Friday morning, off the open. So let's just take a look there. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average is only down 26 points right there, 27 points. The NASDAQ 100, or what is referred to as the Tech 100, I guess we got to switch that. Somehow or another, it's not reflecting it. That's the December contract. We want to be in March now. Let's see where that's at. Like that. Okay. That'll have to load up. Below it, down here, the S&P 500 is, see, it's basically unchanged in NASDAQ, or the Tech 100 on Dukascopy. And then, last but not least, the S&P 500 is up at 1.5. That's it. Nothing major. And the Russell is down 2.4. Oh, I'm sorry, it's up 2.4. So the markets are just standing still at this point. That's the only way to describe it. Standing still, with no clarity or direction. There's the Tech 100 there on Dukascopy. All right. Happy trails to you. And boy, is today going to be wild. When we meet again, happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. All right, traders, be safe, be smart. Try to stay out of a trade until it smooths out today. It's going to be nuts. Ta-ta.